thought I would just do a quick little overview of what I have in my pack. It's a Mystery Ranch pack, and I just like the design, the way it opens up in the middle, and I can get to everything down inside. It's got lots of pockets, and it's just about big enough. I am notorious for carrying more than I need, but I like having it with me, and I don't mind it. So, I fill this bad boy up. Completely full. And this is the stuff that I put in there. So I always have, this is a splint, a SAM splint. I like to hunt by myself a lot, but even if you're not by yourself, you never know if the person that's with you might get injured. So I like having stuff along that I can use if I get injured or if somebody else around me gets injured. This is a trauma wound dressing. I've also got a tourniquet, which my sweet husband showed me how to use. Hopefully you'll never have to. First aid stuff, other than that, I've just got a pack here that's got things like Band-Aids and sutures, in case I need to stitch something. It's got Neosporin, it's got basic pain medication like Tylenol and ibuprofen, aspirin, some fire starter stuff in here, and gauze, some eye drops, tape, basic first aid kit, toiletries. I always have a headlamp, a flashlight, and then I have two of these somewhere over here. Two of these light sticks, which would be handy if you need to mark a location in the dark or whatnot. Those are handy. Emergency sleeping bag. Never had to use this. Little bivvy, but I hear it works good in an emergency. When I'm going hunting with my little buddy, which I am tomorrow, I have two orange vests along just because I might need to drape him in one. If we're out hiking around, I want to make sure that he's visible too. So we've got two hunting vests. I got a bunch of game bags that I really hope I get to use. This little doohickey is pretty handy. My hubby made these for us. They fold up to not take up too much space. They're super light. I usually strap it on the outside of my pack with my tripod. It's just for sitting on. It keeps you from having to get your butt wet, or gives you a little insulation between you and the ground, or a little bit of grip, or whatever. They're handy. I use it all the time. I have a couple different attachments that go on my tripod, one for my camera, and this one for resting my rifle on if the countryside is suitable for using that. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I always carry a wild rag with me. This is one of the best things I've found just for adding a little bit of warmth. I'll use it in the evening if it starts getting windy or a little bit chilly. Tie this around my neck. It's silk, and it really helps me stay warm. It's one of my favorite pieces of gear. And then a small pair of gloves. It's not very cold right now. It's getting hot out, but sometimes the evenings get cold, or if it starts raining it gets cold. And I always keep a couple body warmers or hand warmers in my pack too. Then I have my GPS, which I love. There's places that I go. I have the Onyx Maps app on my phone, which is really handy and I like it. It works great. I've used it bear hunting already this year. And you can cache the maps for the area that you're going to be in if it's an area that doesn't have cell reception. But I've never done that, because if I'm going someplace where I don't have cell reception, I always just pull out my GPS because I'm used to using it. I like using it. The battery life on this is way better than the battery life on my phone because I use my phone way too much. And I like my GPS. I'm not ready to give it up yet. So I have Onyx Maps chips in my GPS, and I always bring it with me, even if I think I'm going to be in cell service. I still have it. Gloves, which I always forget to use, and then I get yelled at by my husband. Saw. This is more of like for in a survival situation, because I do all my butchering with a scalpel. I can go through any part of the body that I need to detach with my scalpel. I know different joints that I can go through to make the sizes of the quarters or whatever I'm cutting apart more manageable. I don't use a saw on my meat ever. This is more for in a survival situation, so if I needed to build a little bit of a shack, makeshift shack or something. So then I have my scalpel, the extra blades. I carry this because my buddy gave it to me, the Mountain Man. I've written some stories about him. He gave me this. It's like a larger version of a scalpel, kind of. These blades are, you replace them, so there's extra ones in here like this. You can never have too many knives. This is why I get people that are like, your pack weighs so much, why don't you get rid of some of this stuff? I like having things along. You just never know when you might lose one. I also carry this little dude along. I usually carry this just in my pocket of my pants. I throw that in my front pocket, so I have a knife really handy in case I need it. In case I get attacked by a grizzly. I don't have a good reason. I just like carrying it. This is a water filtration SteriPen. I carry this along in case I get lost. Planning ahead. Tags! I've forgotten these before, but yeah. Tags. It's a bunch of rope. This helps if you do have to put up like a shelter, or if you find yourself back in some place you gotta hike out but you want to raise, you want to hang your meat up off the ground a little bit, or whatever. Rope is super handy. There's lots of good potential uses for that. A couple garbage bags. Sometimes these are helpful if you want to line your pack, or you want to set them down on the ground. If your place where you're working you need a clean surface or whatnot, they can come in handy. And a lighter. I have a lighter in somewhere else, but for some reason I have this one sitting here. But there's always a lighter in my pack too. And then I'm gonna bring this one along. This spotting scope from Vortex. It's the lighter version that we have. It's a little bit smaller. I'm gonna throw that one in. Not that I plan on hiking that far tomorrow with Mason, but I haven't really gotten to use this one very much yet, so I kind of wanted to try it out and just see what it was like. And then these are my old binoculars from when I was a little kid. My dad gave me these, and whenever I take a kid hunting with me, I bring these and they get to use them. And it's more like sentimental value for me that they're using my old binoculars that my dad gave me, but I think it's fun. And then I have these bad boys, which I am falling in love with this bear season. I've used them so much now. These Fury range finding binoculars from Vortex, I'm a fan. They're a little bit bulkier than my other Vortex binos that I had, but if I was to take and stack my rangefinder and my binoculars I was carrying around before together, then they're not any bulkier or any heavier than that combo, and it's one thing, and I only have to keep track of one thing, which is good for me. I have a tendency to lose things, and they work great. I don't have a single complaint. They've been awesome. They came with this sweet pack to carry them on your chest. That'll be in there. I got my GoPro with me and a couple different things that I can use to film with. I always have my big camera in a dry bag in my pack. I hope I get to use that too. If I get to pull that out, that means that I either am looking at a really gorgeous view or I killed something. So pulling that out is always a prize. And then my 44. I always pack this along too. There's been plenty of times where I've been sitting there in the woods watching, glassing an area, and I've thought, if a bear walks out from me to this or that, something I'm looking at that's not that far away, but there's like a path there where it looks like, a place where a bear may wander through. Or even, I take this when I go wolf hunting and cougar hunting. So when I'm calling, I always look in front of me and pick, this tree or that rock or whatever that's in front of me that's not that far away. The distance, I feel like I could make a good shot with this gun, and I think if something walks from between me and that, I'm going to try to use my pistol to shoot it instead of my rifle. most likely, I'll just carry this around and it'll just make me feel good that I have it along, and I'll end up shooting my bear with this. So this is my 270, and I killed a couple elk with it already. Works just fine. So this and my pistol will be the guns coming along on the trip, and all the rest of this gear. This is just the gear. Then I'll also be bringing along some food because I got a little dude with me who's definitely going to want some snacks. And some toys, like I said, some dinosaurs. Dinosaurs will probably be in there too. I think that's everything though. I'll probably have a jacket and a couple other clothing items I throw in there on top of it, but that's my pack.